we got a new drone, as you can see from the intro, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun to use. I mean, trying to step up our game a little bit for you guys, add a little bit of dimension to some of the videos, and maybe get some cool topwater shots. And I don't know, who knows. That was yesterday morning, just out here playing around with it. But what I want to do today is go over with you guys a bait that one of my buddies makes. Actually, I met him. He lives in same community as me, just down the street, and he makes these awesome, I mean, these really nice rat wake baits. Resin material, he's got the molds for them. I'm gonna go over them. I'm gonna show them to you guys, obviously, and we're gonna try to catch some fish on them. I've already thrown them in the Delta, and I can tell you what, I mean, you throw them right now through the fall, starting back in late spring, these baits catch fish out there in the Delta. Clear Lake, we caught some fish on it in a tournament in Clear Lake in the Wild West back in, I think it was April or May. So they catch fish there. They're gonna catch them everywhere, but they're pretty sweet rat swim baits, and you could have them custom painted to whatever colors you want, whatever combo you want on them. He has a 1-piece and a 2-piece, and I'll go over all that stuff later. Right now, let's get on the water and see if we can catch a fish on it. All right, guys, so what I'm doing with this bait is throwing it way out as far as I can, letting it hit the water, and letting the ripples dissipate, just like throwing really I do that with all my top waters. Just let the fish get acclimated to that bait sitting there. Maybe if something was there, it could have spooked it off. A lot of times they'll turn back around and see what it was, so I'll let it sit out there. And a lot of times how I like to start my retrieve is I'll give it a couple twitches, and this bait walks really well. Really well. You could actually walk it all the way back like a spook. I'll give it a couple twitches, let it sit, and then I just start my slow and steady retrieve. And some guys like to hold their rod tip up. Some like to hold it down. I really like to hold my rod tip at about this angle, keeping most of my line out of the water. I just feel like that's what works best for me. Just keeping a lot of the line out of the water and just that bait in the water. And that thing just has a perfect waking action. And trust me, I've thrown this thing out in the Delta already and caught fish on it. Really looking forward to throwing it more here deeper into the summer we get. And fall, I love throwing wake baits in the fall out there. I mean, I'll throw this thing early spring. You can throw it over the weed beds. What's really unique about this bait is, first, I mean, they're all hand painted. They're all hand painted, all custom paint jobs. I mean, look at the detail on it. You got the ears, the little ears stick out of the water. And what Mike's done is he put a lot of thought into this bait. Pours them all by hand, does all the tails by hand. So let's go over some of the components. Right here, you got a solid welded ring. So not a split ring, just a solid welded ring. That thing ain't coming off. You're not losing any big fish on that. And a lot of thought went into this bait. I mean, a lot of thought. It's pretty cool. No split rings on it at all. So you have nothing that could break on you or fail. So when you're going for big fish, that's super important. He actually ties these hooks himself. This is a 200-pound cord that is attached to a 400-pound swivel. So when those fish get hooked,
The hooks freely spin around, rarely ever lose them. Got really stout, really good hooks on here. Both of them, again, all the hardware, there's no snaps. Everything is within the bait. Swivels are down in there. You don't get weeds stuck in there. The tail is poured where it's stiff enough where it can't bend and hang up on the hook because it's on this screw lock here. So you could actually, these things never come off, but you can put whatever tail you want. He likes to actually throw like a knocker back here. So take the tail off and it'll put like a little knocker. So no tail at all. But again, the bait, the design is just perfect. I mean, no split rings, nothing to worry about there. Hooks, comes with awesome hooks right out of the package. And you could talk to them and get them to custom paint it whatever colors you want. Whatever colors you want. This is a single, I don't know what he calls it, but this one obviously is just a one-piece rat. And he also has a two-piece. I'll show you guys that in a bit. And the two-piece, the back end goes like that and knocks against the front end and makes a good knocking sound on it. A little bit heavier, obviously a little bit bigger of a bait. I think the two-piece costs a little bit more, but I'm going to put his description right here. That way you guys could reach out to him if you're interested in any of these rats, which I think these things are going to kill them on the Delta. It's something they haven't seen ever before. Nothing like this rat out there. This one specifically doesn't make any noise without any split rings or hardware on it, really. It doesn't make any noise, so it's real silent. Just puts off a big wake, and it's really, really weedless as well. You could tell this big bill, it really kind of is the length of the hook. So as you reel it, these hooks are coming back like that with the water pushing against them. And you could reel this thing over the top of trees. It's going to bounce over weeds. It comes through really well. And then when you're ready to pick it up, what's unique about it is once you start reeling real quick, it doesn't dive. It actually flips over on its back and you could just reel the thing real quick, ski it in on top, which is another thing I really like. So let's see if we could get a fish out here on it. And I haven't been fishing out here in about, gosh, I don't know. Haven't been out here in what seems like a month or so. Especially this lake. Actually, since like the turd challenge I did. If you guys didn't see that video, you should watch it. I had one blow up on this bait that looks like a turd. Like a floating turd. Maybe I'll link that video in the end. That way you guys can go see it. Go see if that thing worked. But this bait right here, I know if I get around a fish, it's going to come up and explode on this thing. And hopefully we can get one for you guys. Again, you can reel it, stop it, and it has an awesome profile in the water. The little ears stick up out of the water. A little bit of its back end. Again, you can walk it like a spook. Let it pause. Walk it. And of course, you can reel it slow and wake that thing in. Let's see if we can get one. I cast this thing a mile. I'm throwing it on a Dobyn's Fury 795 swim bait rod. And I'm throwing this on a Lew's Super Duty 300 reel, so I could hold a lot of line on it. This is just 25-pound P-line topwater line. P-line topwater line, specifically made for topwater. You can cast it a mile, super limp. 7.2 to 1 gear ratio on this Lew's reel. For me, this setup's been working really well. I mean, I could throw A-rigs on it. I could throw, you know, S-wavers. I could throw heavy baits like this, Huddlestons, you name it. All the heavy stuff. All the big fish stuff. So I really like it. I think a big part of the fun of wakebait fishing is just the anticipation. Every cast, just anticipating one coming up there and slurping that thing down and never knowing what size the fish is going to be. At least for me. Man, I get my adrenaline's going, you know, my heart's pumping every time I make a cast out there, and a lot of times it's right after it hits the water and you twitch it one time and that fish is was in the vicinity and it comes up and eats that thing up. Man, it looks good. Looks good. Keep covering water. And wake bait fishing, you guys, is a few reasons why it's so fun and productive. Is it doesn't take a lot of work. It's not like working another, you know, any other sort of topwater like a popper or a spook or something like that, where you're twitching it and pausing it. You could cover a ton of water because you're just casting this thing and just reeling it. You don't have to put a lot of work into it. The bait's doing all the work. It's got a lot of drawing power, so it's calling up those fish. A lot of times a wake bait like this is an awesome bait for pre-fishing, especially in TOCs like Tournament of Champion or tournaments that are in the fall, because most of the bodies of water we're around and around the country get pretty clean. They're pretty clear. So a lot of times what I like to do, spending my days pre-fishing, is just locating, not necessarily catching. I don't want to catch all the fish, but I'm just locating fish. So I'll take the biggest wake bait I have with the most drawing power and throw that thing and just cover water and look for followers. And you know, they'll eat it as well, but I'm really just looking for followers with that wake bait. It's a great way to spend your time pre-fishing. Locate the bass, go back tournament day, throw the wake bait, maybe throw something smaller like a popper, something slower, but it helps you locate the fish. So wake baits aren't only fun to catch fish, but it's really an awesome tool, because all these baits are just tools that we use to catch more fish, right? And a wake bait really is an awesome tool to help you locate big fish, especially in clear water. Going, oh, big one, guys, big one, guys. Oh my gosh, come on up here. Yes. Oh yeah, there we go on the rat. 2-piece. Big old mouth came up there, slurped it. Got him right there. Got him good too. Oh man. There you go. Got him pretty good. All right. Whew. Skinny guy, man. I mean, skinny. This fish should be 5 pounds all day. I'm gonna let him go here. Get him back in the water real quick. Gosh, this should be a 5-pounder, but he's, look at that, just skinny. Thought he was about to have a good meal, but nope, tricked him. Here you go. Back down in the water. There he goes. Oh man. Came up, heard this thing knocking around, came up there, just slurped it right off the top. Oh, it feels good. It's just fun catching them on a wake bait. Fun catching them on a wake bait. Oh, I don't wake on it. You guys see that? I think there's one behind it. Oh man, have one wake on it right there though.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Again, Sack Pig Bait Company. If you guys want to pick up any of those rats, I'll have the link in the description below. It's Sack Pig Bait Company. You could find them on Facebook or Instagram. Just shoot Mike a message. Tell him what colors you want. He'll tell you all about the baits. He'll tell you how he makes them. He'll tell you everything you need to know to get you on the fish using those baits. He hand pours the tails, hand makes the whole bait. As you guys can see, it catches fish. Again, I'm just a buddy of mine, and I think the baits are really unique. I think a lot of guys want to get on something out there in the Delta, the bigger wake baits that are different, something different. Those fish are seeing everything out there. Sometimes just throwing them something different is going to make the difference between catching fish and not catching fish. All right, so again, I mean, big bass do eat rats. Small ones too. You catch plenty of 1-2 pounders on those things, surprisingly. But awesome bait. Check them out. Thanks for watching the video. We'll see you next time.